Hello and welcome back to the Potluck Show. Today we are going to focus on a film festival that has never been done in the DC metro area, that was never done in the DC metro area. And then one fine day, a couple decided that was the niche that they needed to fill in, and they stepped in. I'm your host, Meera and I am really glad to welcome our guests, Geeta Singh and Manoj Singh. The festival you have set up, which is going to be in the 8th year this September, is called the DC SAF, which is DC South Asian Film Festival. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome. So let me begin with you, Manoj. I know we met a long time ago through a theater group, but tell me a little bit about yourself first.
So my daytime work is of course IT, and then I always had passion for films and theater and art in general. You know how it gets. You come here, you study, you are into your job, family, and you get very busy. But then when my kids were grown up and on their own, I decided to pursue my passion. And I started with the theater group where we met, did some acting, took some courses on film production and theater, and while I was doing those courses, I also attended some film festivals, one in New York and Chicago, South Asian Film Festival. And then I realized when I was doing a short film that this is something which we are lacking in DC. I have to fly all the way. So why don't I start something similar like that? And that was in 2012 that we did our first film festival.
Congratulations. So Geeta, what do you do otherwise? And then how did you end up, did you have the same dream to want to help Manojji?
I guess, our dreams are the same. But, I was always an avid film watcher. Not anything technical like he did courses and stuff like that. But my day job or, my profession, I'm a banker. So, we just started, he started with trying to, get into acting and stuff like that. And then we saw that there was a lack of a South Asian Film Festival in the DC metro area. And so that is how we came about to do this festival.
So you absolutely came cold into this, and how did it all begin? Do you even have a memory of that?
Well, it was prior to starting the film festival, I was visiting Mumbai quite a bit to network. And I brought in 2 plays actually from Mumbai, Pune Highway and Flowers, and my network grew from there, with the actors and directors. And then I started talking to them, and then I looked at other festivals, their schedule, their program, what it takes to do one. And so it was hard work. It's hard work. I mean, every time we do it, the activities, the planning starts 6 months in advance. So then, for the first film festival, we were very lucky actually that we got Shyam Benegal, who's one of the most prominent directors of India, and some very good actors. So we did the planning, we did the logistics, everything, and it all came together, and it's we are here now. It's the 8th year.
Yes, that's wonderful. So why South Asian?
We do have an international film festival in DC, and most of the major cities in the US, Chicago, New York, Houston, Dallas, LA, they all have a separate South Asian film festival. So it was something which we felt that there are a lot of independent films from South Asia particularly that do not get release at all. It's very difficult for them. They have mostly the filmmakers put in their own money. They don't have funding. So it's kind of a service to those kind of films that we really wanted to do.
So which are the countries when you say South Asian?
So it's India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Those are the
Bhutan.
major,
Yes.
yeah, that region
that
is
region,
called
yeah.
South Asia.
So, can you elaborate further, Manoj? When you say South Asian, South Asians must make the film, or how does it work?
So my criteria for selection is that, of course, it has to have some South Asian content, some story, some social message, and either or the actors or the film director or filmmaker. And we go through all the films are submitted by filmfreeway.com. Some we seek ourselves. We are tracking all the other film festivals prior to ours, which films are doing well, and we are also talking to our own curator in Mumbai that which film will be completed by July of this year, so we can screen in September. So we keep looking for films, and then there's a jury. We have certain criteria. They try to see that short films we like around 15-20 minutes, features are around 90 minutes, documentary at least 1 hour. So that's how we select a film, and it does have to have South Asian touch to it.
Right. So either it can be a South Asian story, or actors, or makers.
Yeah,
Correct.
But something
it has to have something to do with South Asia. So, I mean, sometimes we'll receive a film, it might not be South Asian flavor, but the actor is South Asian or the writer is South Asian. We will consider those.
or even just a story.
Or just a story. Yeah, sometimes, or like a parallel storyline. And our jury is the ultimate because they select the films, because we get a lot of submissions on Film Freeway, and then they give marks to them, and then whatever the top ones are the ones that we will screen.
We are coming up on the 8th year. What is the biggest challenge so far, you think?
For putting the festival together, I would say the biggest challenge is the guests. You know, we do invite guests from South Asia, actors, directors, producers, you know, all kinds of filmmakers, and they are sometimes a little bit of challenge, because many times they will commit and then they will, in the end, some film comes up or something comes up, and we've even had occasion where we've already bought tickets and stuff, and they just say, no, we can't come.
Right.
So what do you do? So I would say that's a challenge. Logistics, of course, it takes a long time. He said 6 months, but I would say we take a year, because as soon as one festival finishes, we start, you know, working on the next
Yeah,
one.
we start looking into like web design. How should we improve? We do a lessons learned after every film festival, and we go back to that and make sure that for next year these are the things we have to improve. I would add to one of the other challenges always every year it has been is sponsorships.
Exactly.
We have to have money, of
Yeah.
course, and sponsors like television, airline, caterer, all of that. We are, by the way, 501c3 not-for-profit organization.
Very good.
So that helps. And this is the first year actually we have even applied for a grant from the Montgomery County. So, so two things I would say: raising funds and also getting the logistics, choosing the right films, getting the guest which confirmed, and audience outreach.
Right. So I asked you already what is the biggest challenge. Those are 2 points that you pointed out. What is the most joy you got out of this?
I would say, there are 2 or 3, I would say. First is bringing people together. I think given the environment right now, how divided and things have become bad, what my message is, let's come together and celebrate what is in common. I mean, people forget.
Right.
There's a lot in common than what we are, we are different about.
Yes.
And then the second biggest thing I wanted out of all this, and I'm very happy last 2-3 years, we have been partnering with Montgomery College, that they are using this platform as a diversity platform, cultural diversity, education for their faculty and students. So I see a lot of value coming out of it, and that's the biggest satisfaction. And then the third is, I would say, the message. Some of these films, the independent films bring out so much social important issues out for discussion. We had a Deepa Mehta's film on a very important film a year before, which Montgomery College decided to even tape the panel discussion for the students for the regular psychology study on the rape. And this year again we have two very good films. One, The Last Color on women's issues, and then one on child labor. So we try to bring out these important social topics for discussion, and it is the truth, and you have to face the truth. And until you talk about it, debate about it, you can't solve it.
Yes, and film is a great medium.
Film is a great medium to do that.
Film is a great medium.
So let me ask you, why indie and independent? Why not commercial? Bollywood churns out thousands of films. So
yeah,
why did
independent films for the main reason that, as I said in the beginning, most of these films, they never get a release. Nobody wants to pick them up, even unless there is some sort of Bollywood kind of element. And these films are made with so much heart. They're made, by some producer, writers, directors that are very passionate about a certain issue. A lot of women's issues, especially as being from South Asia, that these countries have a lot of, the women in these countries have more of an uphill battle in life in every way. And many of the movies that we screen are about those issues, are about some good coming out. And these filmmakers are so passionate. They put their, we've had filmmakers who tell us they've even put up their house for mortgage to make this film. And if the festivals don't show it, then they never ever get to see. So what happens is that once the film has made round of a few festivals, people start looking at it. People talk about it. Maybe some online platform picks it up. So at least they are not canned. There are some movies even from our first film festival that have never got released.
Sadly.
Never got
Interestingly,
released. It's
first
sad.
of all, there's an image out there of the Bollywood industry, song and dance, and we want to show to the audience here in DC Metro, no, we do produce serious films, and they have a message. And also, one of the things we have started doing in Montgomery College is that we have started screening student projects. So this is an encouragement platform as well for independent films and for students. And from last year we started awards, and this year, in fact, we will be giving them much in more categories awards for these students.
Yeah, for the student films, we do give jury awards.
Correct.
Otherwise,
what kind of feedback have you gotten so far? Feedback from the people, audience.
They love it. In fact, they always are looking forward for the next film festival, because they know that some of these films might never be released, because like I said, they don't have, independent filmmakers put their own money, or they do crowdfunding or whatever. And the marketing nowadays for commercial is very expensive here and in India. And if one of the distributors doesn't pick it up, or platforms, I know of a couple of films, even from my first film festival, 2012, दो पैसे की धूप, चार आने की बारिश,
दो पैसे की धूप, चार आने की बारिश.
There's still, or Deepti Naval's first movie, which she directed, still not released.
Oh, sad.
So
That's
sad. Because nowadays,
and that too, she's a known name. Still, the storyline was totally independent. It dealt with some couple of issues of a widow.
It doesn't follow
woman.
the Bollywood formula.
It doesn't fall in that. So no distributor wants to pick it up. So it's still sitting.
So generally, what is the structure of your festival?
So we start on a Friday night with our opening night red carpet gala, where most of our invited guests, actors, directors, and all, they'll come. And they will walk on the red carpet, they'll be interviewed, and we have dinner, and then we have an opening night film. And that's usually, a very well chosen film. And we have a Q&A after the movie. So that's like the first evening, Friday evening. Saturday in the morning we will start, which is on September 21st. We'll start with a workshop in the morning, and then all day there will be 2 simultaneous screening films. We will have a centerpiece film as well on Saturday, and so Saturday is pretty much full day of movie watching. And Sunday again, morning we have a workshop, which is September 22nd, and then after that again screening, and we'll have a closing night film in the afternoon, which after that we have jury awards, and we'll probably have a panel discussion as well in between the film and the jury awards, and then there'll be dinner, some entertainment, and we will close.
Okay, great. So that's your general structure.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your forthcoming film festival, the 8th one in September.
Yes.
Give us details.
So we are looking forward to it. We already have selection of some films, very good films. We'll be announcing very soon the opening and closing movie. Opening is Kafi Nama, which is about a famous poet in India, and Kafi Azmi. And his daughter, very famous actor, you know, one of the most prominent ones, Shabana Azmi, is coming, and we'll have a discussion with her after the film. It's a biography of Kafi Azmi. And then the closing is The Last Color, and it's the main character is Neena Gupta. She's another famous actress, and the director is Vikas Khanna, who's well known actually here and around the world because he is a Michelin star chef. He was in a restaurant in New York, but he now is a host of also Master Chef India. So we are very excited, and then a lot of other Jhalki, which is the centerpiece. It's about child labor, and it's a true story. And we might get some very good guests for that movie as well. So, and then around it, a lot of other good movies. I mean, all of them are actually very good. I would encourage everyone to see all the movies, the feature and very good short films actually. And so what we do every year, another good thing we do is that we select some local short films, so that, you know, the local talents also gets some platform for exposure. You know, you were asking me about being happy. Social service, I'm truly telling you, film festival is a social service, and I'm glad that I'm giving back something to the society. And that's one of my biggest satisfaction.
And so overall, you would say about half a dozen features and half a dozen shorts, or
No, more than a dozen.
a dozen features and dozen
we
shorts?
feature about 12 to 14 features, and each feature is with a short. So we first have a short film, and then we go into the features, so you get 2 for 1.
And also
on each
you, after every film, I mean, I've been part of
And then
your-
Q&A,
I mean, for full
yeah.
disclosure, I've been part of as a volunteer with the festival. And after every film, they have, if they are present, they have the directors and all the participants and the crew and actors come up front, and the audience can ask them questions, and they, you know, really encourage the
Interaction.
talent, because these people otherwise don't get much exposure.
Yeah, they don't
So-
get much exposure, and they love to talk about the films, and it brings out a lot of, you know, if it is a film about some issue, it brings up a lot of good discussion about it, and people actually enjoy that a lot. Otherwise, just going and seeing a film in a theater doesn't give you that, you know, that feeling of camaraderie, connection. Even the audience with each other, you know, it's like a whole kumbaya kind of a thing.
Right. So there are 2 parts to the attraction of why people come. I mean, they want to come. One is that we premiere each film. It's never been released before, at least in US market. And also it's not on any social media platform. And the second is, of course, the guest. They get to talk to an actor, director, ask questions about the challenges, the budget, the why this character, or why this story, or what were you thinking when you took this shot, and how did it transition to the next shot, and all of. So that's the most important, interesting part, which you don't get to see in a regular theater. If you go to an AMC or something, you see the movie, and that's about it. This is what they look forward to, and some of these actor directors are their role model, or they love to meet or take picture with, so they come because of that.
So, what are some of the lessons you've learned that you decided, I ain't doing this again?
Well, I never look back and say that something was negative. I always take it as a challenge. And my whole wish and hope is, and that's why we are not for profit now, and gradually we're putting a board together on that, because we too have busy life. We want to do some other things. Like I said, I made short film, but I want to make feature films and do some other things. So we let it float on its own. I think it has a niche of its own, and hopefully it will continue. Challenges are always challenges; they always remain. But but you need to tackle with them and make it happen.
Right. So we talked about all the good stuff, but there must be audience complaints too. What is the biggest complaint you might be getting from the audience, if at all?
I mean, audience. Of course, I would say at least 80% of our audience do come for the passion of the films, and I would say that there has been a huge transition in our audience. The first maybe 2 or 3 years or 4 years also, I would say, people were only wanting to come for the actors and directors. They didn't that much care. Of course they saw the movies, but it wasn't their priority to come. But now, since the past 3-4 years, they actually only ask about what movies are you screening. That's a huge shift in paradigm that has come about.
And that's a reputation you have established.
Yeah, and people, I mean, that we do bring quality films, and we do bring films that they are not going to have a chance, most of them, to see, and they just love our films. So that's been a shift, but still I would say there are some of them who still are the star followers. And most of the complaints we would get is around that. Is that,
and also like any other, like theater or film, or it is subjective.
Yeah.
Some people might take that message very openly, especially when there are sensitive issues like women's right or LGBTQ, or about child labor, or any other, or even the culture of India or religion of India. So some people are sensitive.
Right.
So we do hear from them, that why did you screen this film, or anything like that. But our message is our policy is very clear. We provide platform to everybody, regardless of what type of film it is. Of course, it has to meet certain quality criteria, and we basically provide a platform for everyone. And the truth has to be told, like I said, and there has to be a discussion. If it's a tough issue, let's talk about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to open up these issues, which generally gets swept under the carpet.
Yes.
Now, what happens, because you have simultaneous shows, and people sometimes, 2 good shows going on simultaneously, or 10 of them. How do you deal with that when people have missed some films? Don't you have interim shows between the film festival?
So we try to do, for example, right now we have a summer series going on. Very beautiful films. We showed, there's a film coming up on July 25th, which is Abu. Then after that, Sir. And
Sir is what date? August?
Sir is August 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
And we just finished a film in June, actually.
So you take these good films from your festival, and people who have missed could still watch them when you have these.
No, these are new films. Angels Are Made of Light. But we do a post screening after the film festival. We did a screening in November, actually, repeated some of the most popular ones.
Okay.
Once, I mean, it's not always that we are able to repeat all of them, because these films are very closely held by the producers and all that, and they just give us like one screening. That's why I would tell all the audience, if you snooze, you lose.
That's
So come for the festival and watch the films in the festival. I don't know if you'll be able to get those films again or not.
I agree. What is your, if people need more information, what's your website?
The website is dcsaff.com, which is basically DC South Asian Film Festival.
It's .com or .org? .com. Okay.
If you go
so
on
www.dcsaff, that is dcsaff.com.
Yeah. So if you go on that, you'll have all the information a month before we release the schedules. The platform is ready for purchase tickets. You will see the opening night, closing night, workshops, everything is there in one place for you to go, and it's very convenient.
Yes.
And the dates are September 20th to 22nd, so everybody mark their calendars.
Yes, I would highly recommend that for this year, September 21, 22, 21, 22, 23.
Yes,
The festival.
No, sorry, 20, 21, 22.
So this year it's 2021, 22, DC SAF.
In September.
That is DC South Asian Film Festival. And looking forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you very much. I'm your host, Meera Narasimhan. Later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Neera.
Thank you.